Good morning, lovely souls. Happy Friday. It's Tim Wilde's first Ascension delivery of the year from the woods. Beautiful morning. It's a bit lighter and brighter today because I decided to get up a little bit later and come down here while it's actually daylight. No, one of my commitments for this year is to release the pressure a little bit, kind of like, you know, let sort of turn the thumb screws off a bit, and if I'm out a bit later, if I'm doing stuff a bit later, then so be it. Slow the pace down, take a few deep breaths, really tune into the energy that's coming in at the moment, because boy oh boy is it ramping up, isn't it? It's we step through the gateway, we step through the solstice gateway, 1st of January, the energy completely reset itself, like completely, just like bonk, all of a sudden we just got this new platform of very crystal clear kind of diamond gold, and also perceiving a lot of the seraphim rainbow light coming in. And as I've said many times before, we've got to acclimatise to this. It's like moving from like a temperate climate, a little bit like this, into the kind of the Mongolian desert or something. There's a vast difference in energy, the way that we perceive it, the dynamics, and how to integrate with this energy and how to utilise it properly. Now, as with the theme of what we've been experiencing for the last 2 years now, what I'm seeing occurring for January is pretty textbook, actually. The light has increased. We've got astrological dynamics which are designed to really start cooking the 3D mixture. Okay, so what we're going to see is not so much of a relent in pressure, but an increase in pressure, an increase in our need to be very vigilant about what we're tuning into, what we're taking in, what we're seeing, what we're believing, what becomes our reality. All of these things are going to be important during January. Now, we're 7 days away. I think it's 7 days away, so somebody will probably correct me on my dates, but we're moving into Mercury Retrograde on the 14th of January, if I'm correct. I think Venus is in retrograde at the moment, so we're getting that kind of retrograde-y vibe, but Mercury is always the one. Mercury is perceptions, it's thinking, it's actual operating systems physically and non-physically. So that is really going to put the spotlight on the programs that are running in our reality at the moment. Not just our internal programs, such as our internal dialogue, our manifestation, our thoughts and perceptions of reality, but the bigger picture, the matrix. The matrix is always the word that you hear me referring to and talking about, and it started dropping in last year when I was doing these videos. And initially I thought, oh, hang on, that I'm not necessarily maybe fully comfortable with that, because it alludes to the Matrix movie. And like, I'm a bloke, I'm a science fiction fan, like my movies and everything, but it suddenly occurred to me that the actual Matrix movie, like Keanu Reeves said, was more of a documentary. And when you look at the way that our energy is structured and the way that we are detaching from our previous reality, he absolutely hit the nail on the head. And of course, on the 22nd, the fourth movie in the franchise came out, and a lot of people are raving about it. I haven't seen it yet personally myself. I'll save it until everything's a little bit quieter, and then I'll go and cast my perusal upon it. But at the moment, apart from picking our highest timeline, picking our perfect reality, picking what we're supposed to be tuning into, we are going to be, throughout this retrograde, Mercury Retrograde, and throughout January and February, shown some of the most fantastical illusions that the 3D matrix can possibly conjure up for us. And we're starting to see it already in the TV screen. Heroes coming forwards and basically, you know, like, and cheerleading for the things that we believe in. What I'm going to say now is it's probably going to throw a spanner in the works a little bit for everybody who's kind of like feeling that you know, they're seeing people in the media, or we might be seeing people in the media who are standing on a pedestal and bringing that sunshine of hope in. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If it is being broadcast in the mainstream media, if it is readily available without being censored, then it is there because they want us to see it, or the Matrix wants us to see it, because it is bringing our vibration and our point of focus in a direction that is not quite flowing in the way that it should. And if you add all of these little distractions together, if you put one distraction alongside another one, and then you've got another 5 kind of rolling out in various other scenarios, all of a sudden you've got confused, distracted people who are putting their energy and their time and their focus into the wrong areas. So I would suggest, as you might be listening to me for advice, so you might have stumbled across my page kind of like randomly because it's in your news feed at the moment. It is my feelings over the Christmas holidays, and especially coming through the solstice gateway into the new year, is to have like a total media detox. Choose and pick very carefully the things that nourish and feed you, feed your heart, feed your soul, feed your vibration, align you with that pathway, that element of your mission, and completely detach from everything else. Because that whole thing about feeding the anger or feeding the fear, it's very prevalent. It's very easy to do. You've only got to go on YouTube and there's big name celebrities, people that are kind of flying the flag for the light, supposedly, but in actual fact what they're doing is spreading fear. Okay, now before anybody thinks that I'm burying my head in the sand, what we're going through at the moment is incredibly important. It's point of focus. Okay, point of focus. So what is your focus upon? What is it on at this point, apart from me at this particular moment in time? What is your focus on? When you switch this video on, what state were you in? Had you attuned to something which dropped your vibration, or were you already in a state of love, which kind of like vibrated on the same frequency with what I always wish and intend to put into my videos? Because all of the time, all of the 2 years in particular, I've been on this ascension pathway a long time now, but it's only in the last 2 years that I've regularly started doing the updates that I'm doing at the moment. And a thank you to all of you beautiful souls that who've actually reached out and said that it's made a difference. That's why I do it. It's apart from to get me connected and tuned in, my drive, my mission is to move through this ascension process like an arrow. An arrow goes straight. It doesn't deviate. It might get blown around by the wind a little bit, but when it is precisely aimed and fired, that arrow reaches its target within the straightest line, with the least amount of resistance and distance to the target. Bang, hits its target. That is the way that I wish to move through my ascension process, and that is my drive to assist anybody else to go through there as well, with minimum distractions. Okay, of course we've got stuff to work through. We've got all of our own, we've got our personal karma, we've got all of the agreements and contracts and cords and initiations and all of the other things that we're constantly releasing and let go of. But there's one way through it, and that's from A to Z in the path of least resistance. Okay, and that's the course of flight that the arrow will take. So anything at the moment that is deviating or knocking that arrow off course is a distraction. Okay, it's a distraction technique that is being formulated by this very matrix that I'm kind of like talking about with an element of humour. But in actual fact, it's something that was very, very meticulously planned and structured, and that we've been part of for countless incarnations. Think about that. Incarnation after incarnation on this planet, moving through this matrix structure, which we've now contracted on a spiritual and a soul level to move out of. And it's doing exactly as we predicted that it would do. It is creating as much entanglement as it possibly can. So all of this media around you, all of this soul food, all of these vibrations, all of this energy coming in, it's time to purify it. Okay? And even the structure of the social media platforms that we are being asked to present on is changing. Like the mighty Facebook recently has changed its name to Meta. Don't know why. It's got a new logo, it's got a new symbol. For me, I'll probably be calling it, if it still exists, I'll still be calling it Facebook for the next decade. It's a little bit like we used to have a Safeways in my hometown of Wimborne back when I was in my 20s. And now it's changed hands 3 times, and now it's a co-op, and I still call it Safeways because it's logged in my brain as that. So it's very similar to that even the formula of these social media platforms is beginning to change. There's a very heavy element of censorship on many of the ones that we were used to using. So again, bear in mind, if something is presenting itself to you on these platforms, it's either evading censorship by using coded language like I do, or it's there because they want you to see it. So again, discernment, discernment, discernment. Everything that you are receiving during the month of January, check once, feel the vibration. Check twice, see where the source of that vibration is coming from. And on the third time, check for the third time the impact and the change that it has within your personal vibration. What does it do upon taking it? It's like eating a food. Your body will tell you very quickly whether that food is right for you or not, especially in today's climate. 10, 20 years ago, we could eat what we like. We could drink what we like. Gone are the golden days of just being able to put anything in our bodies that we wish to. Once you're on this ascension pathway, your body will reform what you eat and drink and take in, so that it matches your vibrations. So there's so many stories that I've heard over the last 2 years of like, oh no, I've had to give up alcohol, I've had to give up coffee, I've had to give up sugar, I've had to give up wheat, dairy, fish, meat, all of the other things. And there's also a big turnaround in diets as well. There's a lot of people that have been on the vegan pathway for years and years, and all of a sudden their bodies, or their dietary requirement for this coming period, is telling them to change that round. There's no set right or wrong for you, apart from what you are being told on a soul level to do for yourself. You have to trust that inner guidance. You have to trust what your body is telling you. What is right, what is wrong, what agrees with you, what doesn't agree with you. So again, listen attentively, intentively to everything that's going on around us at the moment. Everything that we take in it's fuel, and that fuel will either help the fire to burn more effectively, or it will just simply dampen it. It's like you've got a lovely fire going, and then it goes and does what it's doing. It starts raining, and the fire spits and smoulders, and it struggles, and it won't quite go out. It will eventually light, but it will take further time to do so. It takes more energy, it takes more effort. The length of time, or the deviation of the path, becomes longer. So that's what I'm feeling for January at the moment. I'm feeling at the moment to just be as absolutely highly discerning as we all possibly can, because the attempt to split us all up into subgroups is well underway, if you see what I mean. Like dividing groups of souls into factions, like little factions that they feel comfortable in. Oh, I'm divine feminine, or I'm divine masculine, or I'm pro this, or I'm anti that. And all of this creates division, when in actual fact we are looking for a unified vibration or target consciousness, which we're all moving through this gateway together with. And it's very, very easy to get drawn into sets of belief systems. And another thing which is going to be presented to us definitely over the next couple of months or so is how solid or rooted we are in our foundations and our beliefs. Okay, there is going to come a point on this pathway where every single one of us will be tested on having something which was within our reality shown for an illusion. It happens to everyone at some point. It's all part of the discernment process. Where something that you believed in, something that you were anchored or rooted in or focused upon, turns out to be an illusion. And it's how fast we can let go of that, how fast we can let go of our perceptions, our attachment to that outcome or that reality. The energy that's moving all around us at the moment is incredibly high vibrational, it's incredibly fluid. The second we anchor up, we become rigid or rooted into something, we move out of that flow. So we've got to learn to adapt to this higher frequency, this higher energy. And the more prepared that we are to do this, the more ready to just kind of let go and let God and just flow with the stream we are, the easier this will be. And some of us may just quite smoothly just breeze through the next couple of months. Okay, January, February, start of Imbolc, moving into spring in the northern hemisphere. I love this time of year. I absolutely do. I always feel the unicorn energy beginning to come in the first week of January, and usually they clobber me and I have 2 or 3 nights where I can't sleep properly. But I'm completely the opposite at the moment. I'm kind of passing out, seemingly going through my A-cache and releasing everything that I don't want still, which I thought was going to be over before we walked through the solstice gateway, but nevertheless the cleansing and the purging and the releasing still continues. But flowing with that, if any of you are experiencing, if any of you are feeling like the cleansing should have stopped and it hasn't, just flow with it. Okay, everything is coming up because we have anchored that light in. We've asked for this. We've utilised, we've instigated the entire situation, and we're exodusing from that old matrix, 3D matrix, en masse now. Not just 1 or 2 of us or groups of souls. It's a mass flow of energy. So kind of to conclude this morning, be just aware of the fantastical show, the circus that is potentially going to be presented to us from all around. Heroes may rise in the media, people that look like they are singing from our hymn sheet, people that look like they are going to be carrying the baton of freedom. But this is what I've heard many people warning about, and it's been and those warnings have been carrying on for years. Just be aware of the potentials for the false messiah complex coming up at the moment. That's something which is very, very real. It's actually on the cards. It's all part of the network, the process, the plan, the evolution of consciousness. And ultimately what it teaches us is that we are our own messiahs. You can't put your hope and your dreams and your expectations onto an outside person in any way, shape or form. Not somebody that you value information from highly, not somebody that you look up to. You are your own hero, you are your own messiah, your own master, your own leader, and only you hold that sovereignty. That's something that we are all going to be embodying, not just in January, not just in February, March, but the entirety of 2022. That Master Builder year is about reclaiming that sovereignty at the highest level. Okay, So on that note, I will love you and leave you all. Tuesday night on the 11th, Paul and I are going to be presenting the Law of One workshop. So please feel free to join us. The information is on the website, and there's lots of other goodies coming up as well. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.